I got this question from Jeremy Gaudet, Legacy Realtor, over on Instagram that says, what's a better place to invest, Puerto Plata or Punta Cana for retired vets? Perfect question for this AMA Friday video, and I'm just taking a run with it. Which one's better, Punta Cana, Puerto Plata for investment, for living, all of that in today's video. Over on Instagram a while back, I did this video comparing Punta Cana, Puerto Plata, and I said this is why Punta Cana is better than Puerto Plata. Well, my Puerto Plata friends got a little nuts on that. In fact, one dude up on the North Shore, a fellow gringo, made a whole video using the beginning of my video and then completely turning it around on me. So I'm gonna talk about that video. So let's take a look. There are 3 reasons why living in Punta Cana is way better than living in Puerto Plata.
Here's why we chose to live in Puerto Plata.
I mean, as a gringo living in another country, Puerto Plata? Robert, booby, baby, we're here. It's a new place. Like, you gotta give like the Puerto and the Plata. You gotta give it a shot, buddy. Come on, let's. But look, everybody knows Punta Cana, right? It's not like he said Punta Cana or something, something crazy like that.
Over Punta Cana.
I mean, you know, so he gave it a shot. Let's just watch the rest.
Number 3, Puerto Plata is authentic. We don't have those big brand name stores or malls. What we do have is small mom and pop's restaurants that gives you that authentic feel about being in the Dominican Republic.
All right, so I've been to Puerto Plata, and what I know about Puerto Plata is there's grocery stores, there's big box stores, there's all of that stuff. Maybe not to the level of a Punta Cana. I'm not disagreeing. Punta Cana is a bit more commercialized, and then secondarily, there's all the little mom and pop shops that you can find. But it exists in Puerto Plata. But Puerto Plata does have a little bit more of that sort of local vibe. They've got that like mini zona colonial there in the middle of the square, and little shops and restaurants and all of that, more than Punta Cana, for sure. But you duck into a Beron, you duck into a Friusa, go over to Higüey, you could find all the stuff that you're looking for as far as authentic Dominican, if you will.
Number 2, it's the weather. Hurricane proof. All those big storms with their mountainous range on the north coast get pushed off and bypass us.
All right, let's address the hurricane thing real quick. We were here for Hurricane Fiona, which was in 2022. Before that, I think it was Hurricane Maria in 2017. But here's the typical path of what hurricanes do, just in the Dominican Republic in general. They either come in and hit Puerto Rico, slow down, and then maybe glance off to the north. Or they go north before they even get to Puerto Rico. Or they go south of the Dominican Republic and head over toward Mexico and all of that. And on occasion, yeah, there's a direct hit. Now, I'll be honest, if there was a 4 or 5 coming to Punta Cana, I'm probably heading up to Cabarete, to Puerto Plata, to that area just as our escape plan. Because he's right, the mountains will slow it down. So while I'm not disputing that it's more hurricane proof to the north, I think it's a major, major misconception that hurricanes hit here all the time. I've lived here 2 years. Again, we've experienced one. We had Beryl recently go south, and it hit the western edge of the Dominican Republic and Haiti and did some damage for sure. So it's not like they're not around. But by and large, people I talk to that have lived here for 10, 20 years, their whole life, like hurricanes are like a once in a few year maybe sort of thing that happens. Knock on wood, we're good this year, but we'll see. Overall, Punta Cana has a way more modern infrastructure.
Infrastructure, absolutely. Punta Cana has it. And they
Punta Cana
have one of the biggest private airports in the entire Latin America. And number 1, I know Jamie said beaches.
Okay, here we go. So here's the deal with my North Shore friends that I need to address right now. This is what's inevitably going to happen down in the comments, and it blows my mind. I say beaches in Punta Cana better than Puerto Plata, and this is where Puerto Platans like to make the point.
Oh, Jamie, but you have to understand, Puerto Plata is a province. It includes Cabarete and Sosua.
I get it. It's nice to be able to do that when you're trying to include Kite Beach. I get it. Now you're going to call it Puerto Plata. Oh, okay. But we all know what Puerto Plata is. It's the city. Puerto Plata City. You fly in there, which is like right on the border of Sosua, and you're in that area. When we talk about Puerto Plata, that's what we're talking about. This would be like New York City people who somebody said to them like,
oh, there's not enough like lakes. Or like, oh, we got Rochester. It's in New York. Rochester. It's like 6 hours away.
Now, I know for those of you getting overly technical here that Cabarete isn't as far away, but my whole point is that a lot of North Coast people, they love to, when it comes to like comparing beaches or whatever, it's like,
well, I'm going to compare the city and now I'm going to expand it out to the entire region and oh, but it's still Puerto Plata.
Okay. But Bobby would never do such a thing. He's just, I mean, he's smart enough not to do that.
But I'm going to tell you the North Coast.
All right, I have no more excuses for Robert. None.
This is the water sports capital of the Caribbean. What are your thoughts? Punta Cana or Puerto Plata? Comment below.
Punta Cana, Puerto Plata. Punta Cana, Puerto Plata. We're going to work on it, Bob. I'm going to get on the Gringo hotline. You know the number. It's the red phone. And we're going to work on it. Puerto Plata. Puerto. But anyway, good video. I actually appreciate anytime somebody samples something like that and reacts to it like I do, I consider it flattery. And Robert and I went back and forth on Instagram. He knows I'm just playing. I hope he does. Sorry, Robert, if you don't get the play part, but is what it is. The surf capital, the kite surfing, all of that, he's absolutely right. Like if you're looking to get those kind of like those waves, those surf waves, surf vibes, surf culture, no doubt, Cabarete, Puerto Plata, that area is the spot to go. All right, but let's break this down. I'm not going to do pros and cons. I'm simply going to lay out Punta Cana and Puerto Plata, what the differences are, what they each look like from a standpoint of, hey, I might want to move to one of these two spots and I don't know which one is the better one to move to. So I'm going to do this based on my lifestyle, which is I'm a family of 4. Wife, 2 young boys, 9 and 6 years old, and what it would look like living in both places and the considerations to make. You decide which one is better for you, and I'm going to show you by the end, for me personally, I'm going to show you right here, you're going to see it on screen, a major consideration on why we chose Punta Cana over Puerto Plata. First, let's talk budget. Punta Cana family of 4, you should budget $5,000 to $10,000 per month. I did a whole other video on this for those of you that get sticker shock by that amount, but it adds up quickly. Puerto Plata, from what I'm told and see, you could get by with about half of that, $2,500 to $5,000 per month for a family of 4. A lot of that is going to depend on your schooling choice. A lot of that is going to depend on whether or not you have a paid off home, so on and so forth. In Punta Cana, you're going to have much more stable electricity. It just doesn't go out. All that talk you hear about like, oh, stable electricity goes out, like not in Punta Cana. Not any part, not Verón, not any part of Punta Cana. Puerto Plata, power does go out. And there's things you can do. You can get a generator, you can get a battery backup for your Wi-Fi. The electricity stability is definitely there in Punta Cana, but you're gonna pay for that. $500, $600 a month for a 3 to 4 bedroom house is gonna be your electric bill or more, depending on how much you use AC. And that's talking like $500, $600 is, for me, it was 4-bedroom house, air conditioner in 2 different bedrooms. My kids are both in 1 bedroom, I'm in another, and we only use those at night. Still $500, $600 a month in electricity. Puerto Plata is going to be less. Punta Cana has highway access to everything major. Meaning if you got to get to La Romana, to Santo Domingo, a lot of medical and some other things are there, or Santiago, it's all 2-way, well-done highways with roadside assistance, 60 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour speed limits, patrolled and safe. I mean, as safe as you can be driving in the Dominican Republic, but you get my point. You're not weaving through back roads on 2-way streets where people are going to come left of center and take you out because people love to pass here. I'd much rather be on a well-done highway without potholes, without giant speed bumps tearing up the bottom of my car, and you have access to everything from Punta Cana. Puerto Plata, it's coming. The Amber Highway they're building between Puerto Plata and Santiago. Once that's done, it's either Amber or Ambar. I can't remember exactly which one, but once that's done, that'll be a major thoroughfare connecting Puerto Plata to Santiago in about 30 minutes. I have to use my own advice here though. I'm about a coast highway. On this point, like I remember moving to Massachusetts. Anybody here from Boston understands this, and I saw this town called Peabody. No. It's Peabody. That's how you say it in Massachusetts, Peabody. Same with Haverhill. No, it's Haverhill. So as a guy who moved into that place, of course, I'm not gonna sit there and go like, no man, it's Peabody. I'm gonna pronounce it the way they say it, which is why I get a little nutty about the Puerto Plata. It's like a when in Rome thing for me, but anyway, pet peeve. Punta Cana is more commercial with local options you have to find. I mentioned in Verón, in Bávaro, in Friusa, so on. Puerto Plata is more local and you can find the commercial options. So again, for whatever you're looking to do, if you're saying, you know what, I kind of like the convenience of the big box stuff, then it's very easy in Punta Cana, more than maybe Puerto Plata, to find options. But if you're like, I just want that raw, authentic feel that I remember of like little shops and restaurants, again, you get them in both, but definitely when you go into Puerto Plata City or Cabarete, it's got more of that vibe right off off the bat than Punta Cana. Punta Cana is built for more commercial, tourism, so on and so forth. From a real estate perspective, Punta Cana is dominated by new construction, pre-construction, and of course there's also resale, but realtors here are used to the pre-construction market. On the North Coast, Puerto Plata, it's the opposite. There's definitely pre-construction there, but there's a lot more resale up there. So what that means is in Punta Cana, it might be easier to buy because you can just do a deal with the contractor and you're funding through the contractor, not having to get a mortgage with a bank and going through all that rigmarole. Whereas on the North Coast, you probably need to have a banking relationship and a mortgage and all of that, unless you're paying cash. And it's going to be a little cheaper up there as well, but you're going to find more resale options. I'll say this because I'm on a mission to try to make Dominican Republic real estate legitimate. I hate hearing about the scams and the bad realtors and everything. I've got professional realtors in both places. Down below, if you need a referral, just click the link, fill out the form, and I'll connect you to a realtor in either spot. Of course, they're going to pay me a referral fee. I'm going to be very clear on that. That's what I use to fund my life so I can create more content and rent out studios like this one. But either way, find a great realtor in either spot and a lot of your problems are solved. What developer to trust, all of that. Find a great realtor. Now, both spots, to the original question about vets, have veterans clinics in them. I know of at least one in Puerto Plata, and there's two here in the Punta Cana area. One in Punta Cana Village, one in Bávaro. In fact, I did a video profiling the one in Punta Cana Village, the VCCA. You can go check that out on my channel. I'll link it down below. Both spots are also safe and family-friendly environments, so no worry in either place there either. We're talking like the whole area. They're really, really great. Now, one of the best parts about Punta Cana is it blends the American conveniences that you might be used to if you're looking to move here with Dominican culture. Like I mentioned, stable electric, lots of big box realtors, modern highway access, tons of things for families to do. It's the least shock to the system for your family. Now, if you're a Dominican and you're like, I just want to go back to where I came from in this little town or whatever, might be great for you, but you're trying to convince the husband, the wife, you're trying to convince the kids, Punta Cana is going to be the easiest way to convince them. It's built to be westernized. Like that or not, it just is. Now, the best part about Puerto Plata, it's just a slower pace of life. It's got a great expat community, and it's less tourists that come for a week and more like snowbirds that come for the winter. So there's a great community there. That's the best part to me. Like, it's definitely the vibe of what you think about when you move to the island. It's more sort of right in your face versus in Punta Cana, you got to find it a little bit. I mentioned the big thing for me that got me to go to Punta Cana, but I'm just thinking about one other thing that I didn't understand that I think Punta Cana gets a lot of crap for, and it's completely wrong. And anybody who has not lived here for a year or more has no place to speak on this. Yeah, that's right. I'm throwing it down. Punta Cana is built for families.
Whoa, 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 Jamie, it's a tourist trap. It's the bubble.
Oh, it's a bubble. I'm not going to deny that. It's a unique place right now in DR, although I think most of what DR is doing is moving toward Punta Cana. People in Punta Cana are always talking about like, oh man.
But it's growing so much it's going to be like Puerto Plata. Oh, no way. It's the other way around, isn't it?
But seriously, of course, Punta Cana is tourism. That's where most tourists come. It's almost like Disney World in Orlando or the Strip in Las Vegas. Yes, those are tourist destinations and major ones, but Orlando is millions of people that live there. Same with Las Vegas. And it's the same with Punta Cana. When you're here, especially for 6 months to a year, you start to find like, oh, wait a minute, there's 7, 8, 10, 12 different schools my kids can go to. There's all these different parks and playgrounds and different spots for my kids to go play. There's gyms, there's soccer clubs, baseball clubs, tennis clubs. There's pickleball. There's all these different things for family to exist here. People who look at Punta Cana and dismiss it and say Puerto Plata is better because Punta Cana is all tourists, they haven't spent time in Punta Cana. You spent a month. You spent 3 months. You came here for a couple of weeks. Ain't enough time. Live here a year and then talk to me. And I want to hear it. Those of you watching that live here right now, confirm or deny for me whether or not Punta Cana is built for families as well as being built for tourism. I bet you most people are going to agree with me on that. That actually spend time here and live here for a year or more. Just yesterday, I was snagging fly balls with our neighbors at a baseball/soccer field while our kids played soccer, and right beyond that, there were a bunch of people playing tennis, adult league tennis. Kids, families, all of that. It's definitely a family environment. Because of the tourism, it made it that. It made it safe here. But that's still not the best part. That's still not the part that attracted me to Punta Cana versus Puerto Plata. Today's date is July 23rd. Yesterday was July 22nd. You see that math? 23 minus 1 Anyway, I got a last second notice that I needed to be in Chicago tomorrow, July 24th, and return on Friday when you're gonna see this, July 26th. In fact, as you're watching this, I probably just landed. Isn't that crazy? And the thing that separated Punta Cana from Puerto Plata, it wasn't the electricity, it wasn't all that, although trust me, those were factors. Plus we had family locally in Higüey that's closer, but it's this. It's the airport. Let me show you exactly what I mean here. So I just pulled up Punta Cana to Chicago. I gotta put in these dates, the 24th, returning the 26th. Then I'm gonna hit done and show flights. So as you see, Frontier has a nonstop round trip flight that I could take for 26,000 pesos. When they add on all the fees of Frontier, that'll be 565,000 pesos, but you get the point. American 5-hour flight nonstop for 32,000 pesos. That's like 550 bucks. For a last minute trip, that ain't bad. But there's more. There's another American flight. There's a United flight. That's the one I grabbed. All for fairly reasonable prices. And if you want some nonstops, they got them on different flights, Southwest, so on and so forth. No problem. Now let's change this PUJ up here to POP. And let's see what we got. I got one option here from 4 o'clock arriving at midnight. Not bad, with a stop. And it's only 235,000 pesos. So a last minute trip will only run you about $4,000. If this is what you need, if you need airport transfer back and forth, if you've got these trips that pop up, 4 grand versus 500, that's $3,500 more. Whatever you saved living in Puerto Plata gets eaten up by that one flight. Again, this is uniquely me, but I talk to enough people who say, I travel a lot, I need that airport. And sometimes things pop up, like what I need to go do in Chicago. So for 4 grand, I can make this last minute trip. Or I gotta drive 5 hours across the country to Puerto Plata, or maybe Santo Domingo, maybe Santiago, but you get my point. I needed an airport that had all the options possible, and Punta Cana Airport is by far the largest. I think it's something like 2,100 flights in and out a month in Punta Cana, and I think it's about 10 or 20% of that in Puerto Plata. So I pull up Santiago, yeah, you got options. 1:40 arriving at 10:34 p.m. That's 10 hours of flights, 2 stops in Miami and Philadelphia, 56,000 pesos. Like, I guess if I really needed to and just hoped that my flight into Miami and then to Philadelphia weren't delayed to get me to Chicago. By the way, it's an hour and 40-minute layover in Miami to go through customs. If you got the World Pass or whatever, cool, but that's a tough trip. And then a 36-minute layover in Philadelphia. Have you ever flown through Philadelphia? You can't do anything in 36 minutes in Philadelphia. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Philadelphia is the worst airport in the Western Hemisphere. That's me. What do you think? What's the worst airport you've flown through? But Philly, for me, I would fly out of Boston all the time, and when I was connecting through Philly, it was like, oh no. And every time I was proven right. So for me, with my life, with what I have going on, the need to travel, Punta Cana became an easy choice. But again, I think there's great things about both places. I hope I've laid them all out for you. And what I wanted to do in this video is just give you considerations. What is it that's important to you as you consider Puerto Plata or Punta Cana?